the December PMAC meeting. It is 5:33 and we'll call the meeting to order. Stephanie, could you do the roll call?
Of course. All right. Commissioner Brinkerhoff.
Present.
Commissioner Flores.
Present.
Commissioner Young.
Here.
Commissioner Gates. I see that Carlene, you are here.
Right, great. And hopefully Jeb and Jeff can join us a little bit later. All right, so the next item on our agenda is the approval of this meeting's agenda. You should have all gotten that in the email that Stephanie sent. Does anybody have any additions or changes or anything like that? Okay, so hearing none, could I get a motion to approve? Marcus, motions to approve. Could I get a second?
Seconded.
Great, thanks, Will. And everybody that approves the agenda, could you either raise your hand or say aye? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Carlene, are you able to turn on your audio? Maybe not.
I will see. I will ask her to unmute to see if
Okay.
that's possible. Yeah, I'm not seeing any change.
Okay, so we'll just assume that that's fine with those of us who are able to vote. So the agenda passes. And now we have the first public commentary, and these are agenda items only.
All right. I am not seeing any members of the public for this one. There will be, of course, another opportunity later on in the meeting to provide commentary.
Great. Okay, so next we are on to the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. So this will be our November meeting when we were in person. Does anybody have any changes, modifications, anything like that? Hearing none, could I get a motion to approve the minutes from the November meeting? Great,
Motion.
thank
I can
you.
motion.
All
Motion,
right.
yes.
We'll assume that that's a motion and a second.
Yep.
So, now I'd like to take a vote on the approval of the meetings. Say aye or raise your hand if you approve. Okay, see two hands and
Aye.
great, thank you. So with the three of us that have our cameras on or can have our audio on, I think that motion carries again. So the next item on the agenda is our regular business.
All right. This is just a few basic updates. So the first one is we're getting very close to when our market schedule shifts for the year. So next Wednesday is our final Wednesday market until May. Very exciting. And then Saturday market shifts back to an 8 a.m. start, starting the first Saturday in January 3rd. And then that is our hours that we maintain until the regular hours return and Wednesday market restarts in May. So that is our market schedule updates that we have coming. So last market for Wednesday for the year is this coming Wednesday. And that is all that I had about that.
And there is a Saturday market after Christmas, right?
Yes. Yep. The only time that there is no market is if the market falls on Christmas Day or on New Year's Day. Otherwise, we are open.
Great. All right, thank you. The next item on the business is food assistance updates.
Yes. So, you might remember from November that there was a lot of special things happening as a result of the SNAP pause. And we were sort of pivoting to expand our Fair Food Network access. There was the bonus bucks program that they rolled out. So we've been going full speed ahead with that. That program, both the expansion of the program into the bonus bucks and then the lift of the $20 per day cap goes through the end of the year. So we are still in the mix with that. The only change that they said since I last saw you was that if we still had bonus bucks left over, we should just distribute them as much as possible, no longer having to be one per household, pretty much just as long as there is a need or an interest. So that is what has happened. And we have had a lot of interest. We had to get more EBT tokens. We've had to get more double up food bucks, which are the silver tokens, twice. We just had another delivery of that yesterday. So we are hopeful that this second delivery will get us through the end of the year. We have definitely had a few folks that have been leaning hard into the unlimited matching, which is great. So that is why we have been running out like we have been. But other than that, all other food assistance programs are done for the year. So that means WIC was the first to finish in mid-October, then Senior Project Fresh at the end of November, and then Prescription for Health also ended at the end of November. We sent in the final invoicing to the Washtenaw County Health Department this week. I think it went to them yesterday or the day before. So all vendors should be receiving all their payments for that. And then, as I said before, Double Up Food Bucks, the special changes end at the end of December, but that is a year-round program. So that is not one that ends for us because we are year-round. But yeah, I don't know if anyone has any questions or comments about the food assistance.
That's great that there's been such a positive response.
Yep, it's been great.
With the increase in tokens, I'm assuming vendors are getting paid on their standard turnaround time with those tokens and things like
Yeah, I
that.
mean, like it sort of offsets, right? Because the fact is that there's a lot of people that are already done for the year. So the volume is already lower in general. So even if there is uptick of that, it has had no impact
Great.
on timeframes.
And I just want to acknowledge that Jeff just joined us. So,
Yep.
all right. Any other questions on food assistance updates? Okay, so the next thing is the 2026 applications.
All right. So as we are winding down regular season market hours, that means we are winding up on our administrative paperwork inside of that. What that means is that we will be unleashing our new application for next season starting in January. I do have a meeting tomorrow with IT. This will be the second year that we have an online-based application, and the way that we've been able to provide that is through Cognito Forms, which is something that's built out specifically for us by the city's IT department. So that is something that we're just going to be tweaking it, and it should be available in January. And the thing about that too, for those who may be new, all vendors have to apply year to year. So returning vendors have a deadline of March 1st to get their applications in. And then we also are taking new vendor applications along the same lines. We're still trying to iron out if we want to have a deadline, because previously we've pretty much taken new vendors on a rolling basis. But it does seem like it would be great to have a deadline and have it more of a specific time people can apply. Because it's easier for us to tell how much space we're going to have after our returning vendors already apply. Otherwise, we just feel like there's a lot of people that are waiting for responses, but we can't give them a response because we don't know our numbers yet. But we're ironing that out, and market staff will make a decision in the coming weeks, I am sure. about that. But so that's our main vendor application. We also have a community groups application, a musician application, and then our mobile food vendor application, which is similar to our regular one, but then we also have a food truck rally application. All of those we're hoping to be working on. The community groups and musician one is less time sensitive because that is, an as it comes sort of thing, and we're not anticipating very large changes over what we already have. But the other, obviously the main vendor application is the one that will probably need some edits. So that's what we're looking at right now for the applications coming up.
I had a quick follow-up, Stephanie.
Sure.
So for the general applications for the vendors specifically, in years past, how many, like, could be a percentage, what percentage of vendors are caught in that kind of no man's land where we don't have a space for them and we have to wait to get back to them to see if they have a spot? Is it a large number, or is it usually if someone applies, they'll get a response pretty quick?
Usually they'll get like a preliminary response, like a thanks
Sure.
for your application. But in terms of us making a decision, it really depends on
Okay.
sort of like the class of product that they have that they have
Got it.
more than like how fast. So for example, last year we had 67 people apply for 15 spots.
Okay.
So a lot of it, like that's why we had to pause the applications completely because just we had way too many. And within that number, we obviously give priority to people who are farms,
Mhm.
and then other value-added food businesses, and then it goes down from there in terms of our space, with artisans being the ones we have the least amount of space for, so non-food folks. So that's sort of where it sits. But because we've had it on a rolling basis, it really just depends on when we receive the person's application, how long they're waiting. Because again, if people are sending it right in the beginning of January, we don't have any returning vendor applications yet, unless it's somebody that I know we have a space for.
Right.
Because someone's retiring, like it's really hard for me to make that decision that early, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
So Stephanie, I remember last year with the rollout of the online applications that it was easier on you all and there was a lot of good feedback, but there were also some hiccups. I can't remember any specifics, but I know you're meeting with IT, and is there anything that you anticipate is going to be a hiccup this year?
I mean, the plan is to address issues that we had in the past. I know, some difficulties which won't be able to be addressed, as I know a lot of people were upset that they weren't going to have their application pre-filled out for them like they had in years past, but that's just not possible with the particular program that we are using. Nor is it really desirable, honestly, because I think it's helpful to have vendors revisit what that they are selling year to year and remove things that aren't accurate, without us having to do it all. But that is one thing I know that people were disappointed in, but that unfortunately isn't coming back. But otherwise, if there's little tweaks or issues where based on someone's answer, it was shooting them to a different page that made it so that they missed, entering their map or something like that. That is what we were hoping to address.
Carlene or Jeff, do you have any questions since you're the ones filling out the applications? Okay, not hearing any. All right, great, thank you. We'll hope the meeting with IT goes smoothly and hiccups can be ironed out there.
Yes.
Next thing is marketing outreach and merch.
All right. Well, I don't have a ton here other than some exciting news. We talked about market merchandise coming back to the market. That is definitely going to be happening. And also the design work is going to be in-house. So we already know what we want to put on a canvas bag. We are already sort of thinking about what we want to put, like a token pouch, but for that we really need to find the pouch, I guess, that we would be printing on. And then I've given Jade the opportunity to help design the t-shirt, because I know Jade has been very, very excited about taking the lead on all sorts of marketing stuff. I don't know if anyone saw our holiday gift guide that Jade made, but it's wonderful. It's been getting a lot of great traction. So that's something that's pretty exciting in the marketing and merch side of it. And I guess that obviously folds into outreach as well. So that's kind of where we're focusing. And then in terms of a long-term marketing and outreach, Jade's sort of winter project will be relaunching the vendor spotlights, which we had done in the past, but then became short-staffed and couldn't continue, but it was something everyone really enjoyed, both vendors and customers. So looking forward to that coming back on the marketing and outreach side as well.
Any questions or comments? Remind me where the vendor spotlights were. Were those on social media, on the
Yes.
website? Okay.
So how we did it before is they were all posted on social media, and then we would put them on our website as well.
Great. All righty. Anything else? Okay. So the next item is logos and the finance transfer.
Yes. So where we last spoke about this was something that was coming. This was something that was going to be starting basically in January. And where we are now, we have uploaded all of the vendor information into the new program, which was the first step. Basically, we had to have accounts for all market vendors so that we could go in and charge them things like rent or create invoices, and all of that stuff. So that big step is completed. And now where we're at now is sort of figuring out how we are going to, I guess, use our office in a different way that's going to fit everything, because we're still unsure how this is all going to work, given that we have a very tight little space inside the market office trailer to be able to do this. And we have a large setup that we could use with multiple monitors and stuff like that, but I just am not sure exactly how that will work yet in terms of the space. So that is something we are still ironing out before the rollout happens in January. There was also a few last minute questions that we had for higher up finance people, specifically that in the past or now with logos, we enter all the EBT transactions as one at the end of the day, whereas originally how our understanding was of CivicRec that we would have to do every single individual EBT transaction, which, as you can imagine, can really slow down our process. So we are hopeful that we will be able to do it like we're doing it now and just have one transaction for all the EBT sales at the end of the day, and then just have to do the credit card and debit and mobile pay once individually. But that's kind of the last thing. And then the other thing too, we're still waiting on a little more info, is what our end of the day cash out will look like, because we have a very specific process right now for cashing out our end of day sales. And I've been told it's going to be somewhat similar. We still need to iron out those details, mainly because that is my role, and that's part of my job that I'm still a little unclear about. But that is something that's sort of like, I guess, the missing piece. And then in terms of the vendor invoicing, that we have time, because vendors don't get invoiced for the year until their payment deadline is the end of June. So we have some time into, at least the spring to get all that part figured out. Whereas the new cash out process and the token sales will all pretty much be starting in the beginning of January. And that is all I have about that.
Any questions, comments? I'm glad this is rolling out in January where things are a little bit slower.
Sort of. It's just different.
All right. Next item on the agenda is facilities and repairs.
Okay, great. So we did have a mishap. Was it last week or the week before? One of the vendors did take out one of the gutters, one of the downspouts, I should say, not the full gutter. So that, and I guess the part that broke off got misplaced or thrown away or something like that. So they have to actually order a new one for that to be fixed. So if you notice a downspout hanging in the middle of the air, over by stall 100, 101, 102, like, don't worry about it. They're working on it. They just had to order a piece to get that to be fixed. And then the other thing that I have, the other main thing that I have about this is I know that the city recently finished an assessment of the roof structure itself and looked at areas where beams needed to be replaced, bolts needed to be replaced, and they are starting to move forward with that repair because they said there was, I think, 44 bolts which bolt the beams to the concrete that will need to be replaced, and a handful of columns. So the bolts seemingly are the big lift, and they're hoping in the springtime to begin the process of replacing all of this stuff, and the hope is to be done by the time May rolls around and Wednesday market restarts and both markets will be happening. So that is sort of, early stages of information coming out, but I do know that will be coming soon. And that is something that Adam just got the full report on, is completed and is starting to move forward with like the work plan. The good news is that is all going to be in-house through park operations. This is not something like with the demolition that we had to wait for a bid out or we had to wait for a contractor. This is all park operations in-house going to be able to do this. So that is very good news. But I will let you know when I have more info on a specific timeline. But the general timeline is, I would assume, starting no earlier than the spring, because if there's concrete involved, right, it's going to need to be warm enough to be able to set. But that's what I have on that.
So it's not only replacing the bolts, there is concrete work that'll probably have to be done on that.
Maybe.
Okay.
That's possible. That's what I would imagine, but I could be completely incorrect on that.
Okay. Okay. And does this come out of general parks operation budget or does this come out of the farmer's market budget?
I do not know the answer to that, but this is part of the larger pros plan conversation. So I would think it would maybe be broader than just us.
Okay. All righty, more Band-Aids on the market structure. So,
well, I mean, this one would be making it structurally sound in a way that it's not exactly. So no, that is not just Band-Aids. This is actually what would fix the load-bearing issues, according to their assessment.
does anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay. Next is the neighborhood construction updates.
Well, not much updates other than same old same. We've still had a lot of headaches with the parking situations. I'm not sure what the status is of making that area on Detroit Street potentially a loading zone into market hours. Unclear about all those things. And also still not sure exactly about the timeline for when 303 will begin their staging inside our market footprint. But I anticipate that will be happening, sometime spring, maybe before. We're not exactly sure yet.
Who makes the decisions on the loading zone?
I think it's whoever does like the street management and stuff like that. I don't know the exact person, but I think it was something that Remy was reaching out to whoever it was to be able to do that.
Okay.
It
So
is
it's not
not something.
DDA.
No, I don't think so,
Okay.
but I'm not sure. Unclear.
All righty. Any other questions or comments on the neighborhood construction projects? Okey doke. Now we're on to new business.
All right, I guess I have one, that Jeb, who is unfortunately not here tonight, that he will no longer be with us on the body. He has decided he is shifting a little bit his business focus, and he just does not have the time, as much as he wants to be involved and loves the market and wants to do other things to support us. This was going to be his last meeting, so that means we just need a new daily vendor representative to join us. And I know last time we had talked briefly about this, and there had been a few recommendations put out there, but I guess, yeah, so if anyone has any thoughts on that or wants to do some outreach to people or has a good idea of someone they want to tap on that, just let us know.
And will that go in the email to the vendors that you send out?
It can.
Think that I know not everybody reads those, but it'd be
No.
great if it could be up at the top or
I mean, I do all of the strategies I can to encourage important things to be seen.
Is there a formal window form or site that we're looking to, receive applicants or interest in it? Or is it more of if we hear of someone, we will, informally introduce them to the process?
Well, this one's because it's specifically mandated that it's a vendor. It's a little
Got
bit
it. Okay.
different. But for our other positions, like when Lisa's position is going to come up for May, that will definitely be like a general anybody is welcome sort of thing. But this is
Okay.
specifically one that's like vendor specific. So
Got it.
a great question.
But Marcus, the way the application works is just like what you did to be on the commission. So it'll go through that city website with the application process.
Got it.
And Stephanie, so I'm assuming that the city will open up saying there's a vacancy on PMAC, hopefully sometime after the first of the year. Yeah, and then, but for commissioners, just know that people can put in applications even if the city doesn't say there's a vacancy there. They do accept applications, and then they'll be put in a pile. One of the things that sometimes has to happen is there has to be a little nudging. So. Alrighty, that was one of my items. And then I just wanted to also acknowledge that our January meeting is where we have the election of new officers. So that'll be for the chair and the vice chair of the commission. And my term is up, as Stephanie mentioned, in May. May will be my last meeting. So there we will it always has to come up, but I can't serve as chair anymore because I won't be on the commission anymore. So what often happens at this meeting is that people just talk about their availability and their willingness. And then usually what happens at the January meeting is we arm twist and nominate some people. And then there's an email vote that Stephanie keeps track of. So I just wanted to review the duties of the chair, since somebody will need to step into this position. It's clearly running the meetings, like you've seen me doing. I usually do a little homework beforehand and just make a list of other things to bring up on the new business. And then occasionally I have gone to city planning meetings because of the construction around there. That's voluntary, but I it has been useful to have the voice of the chair of PMAC at those meetings to just remind city planning about the market and the market needs and things like that. And then recently, when we knew there were applications that were in for PMAC, but the city wasn't moving on that, I also emailed the mayor and just said, hey, want to let you know, and when are you going to make these decisions? So I view that as a voluntary nudgy part of my role as chair. So Stephanie, am I forgetting anything
How
else?
long is the term, Lisa? Is there a requirement for term length?
For the chair,
Yeah,
we do these elections every year. So every year it comes up in January. So I was chair once before, but then another commissioner did it, and we sort of flip-flopped around as a chair and vice chair. The vice chair's main job is to step in when the chair can't be there. So
gotcha. Thank you.
yeah, so you only have to commit to a year. So, and we've never had a meeting where there couldn't be anybody to run the meeting, because we usually email each other if somebody's going to be missing. So. Stephanie, anything else?
Not that I have.
Yeah. So at the next meeting, we'll sort of ask for self-nominations, and then there's usually well, I think so-and-so should do it kind of thing, or would be a good person to do it. So, yeah. All right. And then the only other thing on my list is that we should probably start talking about a next in-person meeting. It was so nice to see everybody in November in person. So throwing that out there for suggestions for the next in-person meeting. Again, Carlene and Jeff, if you've got anything that, because your schedule, since it's tied to thinking about planting and the agricultural cycle, if something like February, March would be better. Looks like Jeff's going to come on.
It doesn't really matter to me. They're all busy.
So it doesn't matter whether it's February or March.
Not to me.
What about you, Carlene?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Wow.
It works.
It wouldn't matter. Either one would be fine for an in-person meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, we have more leeway when we're not harvesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Marcus or Will, do you have any
Either way works for me.
okay. Should we just shoot?
yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was agreeing.
Should we just shoot for February?
Sure.
Great. Okay. So Stephanie, you can check on if the council's chambers are somewhere in City Hall is available. That would be great. Thank you. I'm just trying to see if I have anything else on here. Oh, Stephanie, quick question for you. Will there be a new link, Zoom link for the January meeting? I saw that this one expired.
Yeah, they have us do a new one every year.
Great. So just everybody watch for that.
You'll be getting invites similar to you did for this meeting.
Great. Okay. That's all the list of new business that I had. Does anybody else have any questions, comments? Okay. Then we are on to our next second public comment.
Well, I am seeing no members of the public present,
Okay.
so I would assume that means there will be no comments.
All right. then I think the next item is adjournment, so we can adjourn this meeting, and it's 6:08. Happy holidays, everybody. Look forward to seeing you in the new